Jam. Toon Jam.
Hello and welcome to Toon Jam podcast. I am Matt.
And I'm Jamie.
And we are continuing our swim through Adult Swim. Today we are talking all about the Venture Bros. And to fill you in on the Venture Bros before we begin, the Venture Bros is an American adult animated television series created by Christopher McCulloch, also known as Jackson Public, for Cartoon Network's late-night program block Adult Swim. Following a pilot episode on February 16, 2003, the series premiered on August 7th, 2004. It was initially conceived as a satire of boy adventurer and space-age fiction prevalent in the early 1960s. It is considered to be an action-adventure series with comedy-drama elements. It says that, but then I feel like it's heavily borrowing from Johnny Quest as well. So just to throw that in there. It's one of Adult Swim's longest running original series in terms of years and has the record for fewest seasons produced over a scripted show per year of continuous production. With 7 produced seasons over 15 years of production. The 7th season concluded on October 7th, 2018. The series has been renewed for an 8th season. So that's a bit of an Adult Swim trait, I would say. Anyone that watches Rick and Morty would know that you're not getting a yearly series out of that.
Such a weird record to have as well. Least episode.
Yeah. It's like such a long-winded. I suppose it's quite fitting that it's so long-winded in terms of its actual title as well.
Yeah.
It's the record for the show with the record with the longest name. Fun fact, the show creator McCulloch was one of the main writers for Saturday morning animated series The Tick. He created the Venture Bros storyline sometime prior to 2000. After working for the television program Sheep in the Big City and the live-action version of The Tick, McCulloch set to turning the Venture Bros into an animated series. Do you remember Sheep in the Big City?
No.
It was a it was a cartoon series.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and I'd completely forgot it existed until I read this. So that's definitely one we should visit at some point, because that is a later entry in the cartoons, yet even less known than Two Stupid Dogs.
Oh man, ultimate underdog.
Yeah, the ultimate underdog. It was originally conceived, I'm going back to Venture Bros, not Sheep in the Big City, as a comic book story for an issue of Monkey Suit. McCulloch realised that his notes were too extensive for a short comic story and proposed that Comedy Central air the Venture Bros as an animated series, but the network rejected it. Although the first draft of the pilot script was written in the spring of 2000, the premise was not greenlit until around the summer of 2002 by Adult Swim. McCulloch had not previously considered Cartoon Network because he didn't want to tone the Venture Bros down and was unaware of the existence of the network's late-night adult-orientated programming block, Adult Swim. With the revised pilot, production began in autumn of that year, and the pilot was first run on February 16, 2003. The first season of the series was completed and premiered in 2004, and it was added to the summer schedule in August. Whew. There you go. So, Venture Bros, critically, pretty well received, less so early on. So it was still pretty well received, but it just was more sort of had a few bad reviews as opposed to later on where it was just mainly good reviews. But as we always like to refer here, the IGN Best 100 Animated Series list, it ranked number 56. This was in 2013. I think this is why we always have a sort of. There's always a cartoon on the list because they do it every year.
Oh, really? So they do
yeah.
100 every year.
Yeah, seems too much, but
It is too much.
I guess just add new ones to it. In 2013, they also placed Venture Bros as number 12 on their list of top 25 animated series for adults. So they've got 2 lists.
So many lists.
That's how that's how you pull in the ads. Lists. Keep doing lists, and you'll get the ads.
That's it.
People
we need
love
to go
lists.
to lists. We need to change this to List Jam.
List Jam. You're all ready for it. Watch our numbers soar.
Just the idea of it.
So that's your background on Venture Bros. Have you watched it before?
I haven't. I feel like I should have done. Yeah.
I thought you had.
No, it's a weird one. Like my sister really likes it. She's always recommending it to me. Like I've watched loads of well, I say loads. I've watched a good handful of Adult Swim stuff, and this one's really popular. So you'd think that we would have crossed paths before, but no.
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 Well, interesting.
Yeah.
So this was entirely fresh to you. We watched the first episode for those of you at home. I had seen it before. I think I bought this at the same time I got first season of Harvey Birdman.
Yeah.
So first season of this as well. So there might have been some sort of offer on, I guess. Or I was just into it. I can't remember. But yeah, I'd seen it before. So it wasn't that long ago that I watched it. Probably about 10 years ago. But I haven't really seen much more of it since. It's not that I didn't like it. I just didn't watch any more of it.
All the 10-year-olds listening are like, what? That's so long ago.
We've just hit our 10-year-old crowd.
That's an eternity.
But yeah, there you go. So it's been a while since I watched it. So yeah, it was nice to go back and visit and reassess my opinion. Or did I?
Oh.
We shall find out.
Holding on.
So we watched the first episode in which we are introduced to the Venture Bros themselves. Brock Samson, who is the guy that he's like the race, isn't he?
Yeah.
From Johnny Quest. Yes. He looks after the kids and works for the professor, who is their dad, or doctor in this, Dr. Thaddeus Rusty Venture.
What a
and
man.
then we have a villain in it, which is the sort of main character as well, the Monarch, who is a butterfly-themed supervillain. And he also has a sidekick. Would you call it a sidekick?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, and her name is Dr. Girlfriend. And she has a man's voice, which is quite jarring, but humorous.
It is pretty funny.
So
I thought I misheard it the first time it happened. I was like, was that? Oh, that's weird.
It is, yeah, and it's strange. But yeah, so what your first thoughts going in? Is it what you expected?
Yes and no. Like I thought it would be like a kind of Johnny Quest type scenario, in which it is. But then I think like the humor and the way that the episodes actually sort of unfold wasn't how I was expecting. I guess I was expecting maybe more adventure, but it was more kind of mishaps and nonsense, which was, way funnier than probably what I was expecting.
Yeah. I think this seems to me like the the missing link in Adult Swim cartoons, in which it's still doing what they did before. So what we've seen in like Sea Lab and Space Ghost and the Brat Show and all that, where it's using sort of the old premise, making fun of those old cartoons.
Yeah.
But then in this one, it's entirely new characters.
Yeah.
The animation is a step up,
Yeah, definitely.
and the designs are a bit more, even though they still borrow, they're a bit more original. So they're not like carbon copies, and there's differences, and you can tell that even though I would say there's loads of Johnny Quest in, it's probably just because that's the one I recognise. So there's definitely other elements in it, and it doesn't feel as just straight nonsense comedy as well.
Yeah,
but it has a lot of nonsense comedy in it.
it does. Yeah.
But it feels like a bit closer to the newer stuff, while still being close to the old stuff.
Yeah, I think it is the bridge, isn't it? Like you say.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy that more than I did C-Lab, where it was like, I can tell this is so old.
Yeah.
So I have to sit through the oldness of it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting as well because the Harvey Birdman we watched was about Johnny Quest.
Yeah.
So it was a similar sort of thing going on.
Exactly.
But you can see it didn't feel the same.
No. But this one was a good introduction to the characters as well, because like obviously I was going in fresh, and then I didn't know what to expect from them. But like there's a cool like cold open almost with Brock Samson, and you immediately get the deal with him where he's sort of like having some dodgy card game somewhere in Mexico, right? And things go not to plan, and then he ends up whooping a load of fools and getting a spare part for something a vehicle or something that he needed.
You know, by the end of the first episode, you're very aware that he is Nails.
Yeah.
Like he's hard as nails, and he's basically the one that's keeping them all afloat.
That's it.
The Doctor is he is smart, but he's also a buffoon. And the kids are just, they're like the real sort of nonsense callback to the old cartoons.
And they've got that robot as well, haven't they? Helper. That seems to just be like a cool device every now and then for something stupid. Like they end up getting it like customized in this one.
Because he needs like a paint job because he looks sad.
But then he ends up just getting like flames and like some sort of pin-up woman on the back of him.
And then the Doctor has to use him as a kidney.
Yeah, like a drug.
His kidneys get stolen. I mean, it's pretty. Talking over it, it's bonkers.
Yeah, it goes to some strange places like immediately that you're not expecting.
But I think it's done. There's a certain cinematic element to it that kind of grounds it in a weird way. Yeah. So, like with Brock Samson, it's just like you kind of go along with him, and he always seems dead serious, and there's always seems to be some sort of like, it feels like an old western or something when he's about. Yeah. I don't know if that's just because it's set in Mexico. But yeah, it seems to be a bit more like when he's on screen, you're intrigued in what's going on. When the Doctor's about, you're expecting jokes, and that kind of it has like it's listed on Wikipedia as a dramedy. Really? Yeah. It seems very strange. It's dramedy, black comedy, action adventure. How strange. Yeah. I didn't think there was like any drama going on. No, only with him because he's like so serious. Yeah. Even that's where the drama aspect comes from. It's all Brock Samson. Yeah. But it's ridiculous as well because he's so intense. And he's so tough. So basically, there's a bit where a load of minions attack him, and they have to fire like 100 darts into him to put him to sleep. But he's got one by the neck, strangling him, and they can't. His grip won't go even when he's asleep. So they just They just have to put him to sleep so he can die.
Even like unconscious, like Brock
Yeah.
Samson's grip can't be released.
It was a really good introduction to him
Yeah.
as a character. I mean, the Venture Bros take a bit of a back seat.
Mm.
It's not really about them, is it?
No, it didn't seem like it. No, they seem like side characters and it's
Yeah.
something else.
It's like Brock and the Doctor.
Yeah. And the Monarch had quite a lot of screen time as well, and then like
Yeah.
he seems like a pretty fun villain as well.
Yeah.
Like he's got his little squad of minion butterfly guys that are trying to earn their wings, which is just seems like a stupid thing in the first place. But
Yeah.
he seems to have a vendetta against the Doctor.
Yeah. And the
then he's got his
Doctor's
own weird secret lab going on. Like he's pretty much everything you need from a villain. But
yeah, down to his origin story, he was raised by butterflies.
which concludes with him being like left by them, only to realize later that they migrate in the winter. So
It's the whole reason he's in Mexico is to find his parents.
Such a stupid origin.
It's really stupid. Yeah, it is ridiculous. But it's got a. I don't know. It seems. I think this one's longer than what we used to. The last episode, Home Movies, was the same length.
Yeah.
But this felt a bit more like it justified it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, oh, Plumneck, this feels a bit longer than it should be.
That's
it wasn't just, it like the plot demanded the time.
Definitely. Yeah.
And there was always something going on.
I think cutting it shorter would have taken away from like getting to know those characters as much as you did, because I feel like even though I've only just seen one, it's kind of like I know the deal now. Like if I watch the next episode, like I know exactly what to expect, and like I could be pretty happy with. It's that sort of comfy moment you get when you've watched a sitcom for a series, and then the next one's just going to be them thrown into scenarios, and you kind of like you're prepared for what's going to happen in a way.
Yeah, and it was a good way of introducing it, because it wasn't really like you can watch like sometimes you go to watch a new series and you can't really be bothered because you've got to go through the sort of, in a TV series the first act is always so long.
Yeah.
And you just like, I just want to get into it. I can't be bothered to watch this. Whereas this was like, it was already going on. You're thrown into it, but it introduced them more perfectly without like if you didn't tell someone that was the first episode, they wouldn't necessarily know.
No, yeah.
Let's watch
way better.
This. Yeah, and they'd be like, I've seen an episode. I don't know if it was the first. But it was like a really good way of introducing all the characters without making you feel like you had to slog it with them.
Yeah. There's some series, isn't there, where it's like so much effort to just like get to the point where you actually want to watch it. There's just so much introducing to be done, and unlike the complete opposite end of the scale for different reasons, but like take Game of Thrones for example. Everyone loves Game of Thrones, but like I'd hated that first season. I didn't enjoy watching any of that really until like it got to the end, and I was like, oh okay, I guess.
That's what's weird about Game of Thrones is like most of it is once you've seen the first series, you're in the point where it's like Game of Thrones and anything can happen.
Yeah.
But it's not until the end of the first series that anything's like that you're like, whoa, this is just changed.
Yeah. So, but Venture Brothers did that in 22 minutes instead of like 8 hours. So well played.
Exactly. Well, I mean, even if you just talking about if you relate it to cartoons, you look at Gargoyles.
Yeah, we had to. Oh man,
4-parter.
That felt like Game of Thrones all over again.
And I mean, yeah, it's good, but you just want to be in the thick of it. But I suppose they both have their pros and cons. It was still a good story and whatnot. But yeah, I personally do like to be just thrown into stuff, especially when it's comedy or short form entertainment.
Yeah, me too. I think just like by the end of this episode, I was ready to be like, I can go for some more. I reckon, like,
Yeah,
without needing any more. You know, I don't
exactly.
need 4 more episodes to get all of the characters in and stuff, like, which is like a really nice way of doing it. Like,
Yeah,
I think Adult Swim, usually, like a lot of Adult Swim shows, are so nonsensical that they don't even need a setup most of the time. So
no.
it's
Well, yeah, and it's like everything we've watched is character based.
Mm,
There's not a single one that's more premise. Oh, I suppose maybe Harvey Birdman.
yeah,
But even then, it's just like making fun of the characters.
that's it.
I don't know if that's more of a comedy thing anyway.
Mm.
But yeah,
I thought Patrick Warburton was perfect for Brock Samson as well.
yeah. I mean, he must have I take it that it was because of the tick.
Yeah,
He got this because obviously with the guy working on the live action series with him as the tick as well.
Yeah,
But yeah, he's spot on for the role, isn't he?
definitely. Like when you hear that voice, you can almost see him, can't you? Anyway,
Yeah.
like just the sheer scale of him, and you're like, yeah.
And it's interesting, it's not like when I read that it was by the same guy that did the tick.
Mm.
On the one hand, you're like, oh yeah, I can see that.
Mm.
But then also, it's completely different.
Yeah, it is different enough to feel fresh.
Yeah. So he's still got those like the Monarch could easily be a character in the tick.
Yeah, it could. Yeah.
Even Dr. Girlfriend.
Mm.
But everything else is not the tick.
Yeah.
So it's cool that he's managed to carry on doing what he's doing in a completely different way.
Yeah. It is something that you don't really see these days. Everyone's usually trying to reboot or remake or, continue a series of the same thing.
Yeah.
Because it's in their wheelhouse or whatever. But we need more people that have got the creative control and the idea to actually take something and evolve it a little bit.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see later episodes to see if it sort of sticks to its themes. Because obviously pretty much all of them didn't do that in the previous case, or so we read.
Yeah. so we've been told.
So we've been told. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of them sort of, and I mean, naturally shows do, don't they? They stray away.
Yeah. So like, because you've seen more of it, haven't you? So like,
I've seen the first season.
Right.
So it kind of, I think it does probably about halfway through. It starts to get a bit more. There's more laughs in it.
Right.
Not that it's lacking, but it definitely gets a bit more comfortable in itself. There, I do remember the second half because it took me a while to sort of get in it and be like, oh yeah, actually, I really like this, because I think sort of at the start I was a bit like, yeah, this is good. But yeah, as it went on, it was a bit more like, oh yeah, it's actually getting good, like really good. So I think it does pick up a bit more.
Right.
But that makes it sound like it starts off bad, and I don't think it does.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting for me revisiting it now, because obviously a lot of them we watched when we were kids, and then we revisit it. This one, I watched when I was like 20. So it is. You think there's not much has changed, but then you can still appreciate different things. And like, oh, I didn't really appreciate that before. That's quite cool, actually.
Yeah.
Like this whole scene. So yeah, it's weirdly different take on it, with only 10 years difference. So
I'm guessing like Monarch's a recurring character as well, but is there like?
Yeah, he's in it loads. He's almost a main character.
Yeah. Is
So,
he? Are there other villains that sort of like get in the mix?
yeah, so there's a guy called Underbite.
Right.
He's in the intro. He's got like a metal jaw.
Yeah.
I remember him. but Monarch's in it a lot because him and Doc's girlfriend are in it quite frequent.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's let's have a look. Just having a look. Baron Werner Underbite. That's his name. So it's like U with an umlaut.
All right. Nice.
So UNTERBHEIT. Unterbite. Phantom Limb.
Nice.
A ruthless killer, villain, insurance agent, high-ranking guild member. Also was a former lover of Dr. Girlfriend before she left him to become the Monarch's companion. And apparently the venture's friends and acquaintances include expert necromancer Dr. Byron Orpheus, teenage goth daughter Triana, an albino computer scientist Pete White. Yeah, so it has got some recurring characters that are pretty fun.
That's what I'm weird. Yeah, I was just wondering if
he's in it the most.
Monarch is, yeah. No, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I figured like that was. It felt like I was getting a good dose of what to expect. Sort of thing. Yeah. And it was right.
There you
also,
go.
You know, I appreciate the Monarchs and the Butterflies because I'm a big fan of Quantum Break. So if you guys haven't checked out Quantum Break, then you know that's also the main antagonist company in that fantastic video game.
I imagine everyone listening doesn't know what that is.
No, I assume they don't because
it's a game.
It's a game, by the way.
It's a game. It's not a show.
Not a show. It's a game.
Yeah,
I just thought I'd plug that since nobody else is. So
it's Jay's favourite game, and try it out. It's on Game Pass if you're on an Xbox.
Yeah, look at that. Little plug for Quantum Break in there. Get it in.
That's it. Giving away free advertisement space right there.
Look at that.
Right, well, on that note, shall we jump forward to our rating?
So for this new series, I think what we want to do is we start off with a builder. So he does he does a lot of brickwork. He does a lot of the mortar and stuff. We see him steadily building the house all the way.
And is this the first episode or
no? We want to go all the way through season 1 on this one. Okay. We see the builder making the house brick by brick.
The builder himself is. He or she, are they a main character?
No, that's not the main character. What we want to do is we want to tease the main character in a little bit later on. So we see the builder. We think that's the main character, but then the builder dies in a tragic brick falling accident. As we find out, his walls are actually inferior.
So tears early on then.
Very early on in season 3.
Very end of the first season, early on in the entire story arc.
Yes. So we want to have the builder. You sort of slip him in, and then end of season 3 maybe. That's when the builder dies, and we sort of cross over into the dog. His dog.
So you've extended it now. So 3 seasons of the house being built.
Yeah. Because
and the house itself. Is this where the main character will live?
He might do. He or she might do. They might go in the house, but we don't really know at this point because we don't know who the main character is. We don't even know their name at this point.
Okay. Yeah.
So we then follow the dog through season 4, and the dog's living on the streets because the house isn't built anymore because the builder died.
So this dog is this any link to the main character?
We're not sure. It might be. It might have a dog link to them, So like he knows another dog that knows him.
Sort of the mother of the dog that will one day be owned by the main character.
Right. Yeah. That could be something. Yeah.
So we spend a whole season looking at that dog's life, and basically by the end of it, that dog would be impregnated.
Yes. So then we have dog birth at the season finale of season 6.
So
season
Tears early on in the series,
Very,
six early on in, and by the series I mean as a whole.
as a whole, yeah, very, very early on in the series. We see the dog birth, and then the dog's revealed, and then we see an arm come in, swoop, pick the dog up, and take them home. And it's the house from season 1.
Oh, that's good.
And it's finally built. The roof's on it this time, but there is a leak.
Finally seeing those links, those seeds that we've been watching six seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Those links are coming in,
and you
finally
settled
like
in.
This is going somewhere.
This is yeah. You can see it, but by this point, the viewers are like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I think I'm figuring it out." And then we throw in a curveball because the house is complete with the door. And then one night there's a letter is posted underneath the door with a single name on. And that's the name of the main character.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. And what is that name?
The name is Byron.
Byron. Nice. So yeah. So and that's the name of the series. Ingenious, an entire series about someone that we don't see their name till the end.
Exactly. We can just go from there. I mean, we've got 30 seasons lined up.
What we could do, so after those 18 seasons, when we finally see the name, that's when we can look at doing a spin-off series about Byron.
Yeah. Byron.
Got money in the bank. This is going to be the next Walking Dead. Here at Toon Jam, we have a 3-point rating system for our shows, and that goes as follows. So, thumbs up, you've got Brock Samson on your side. No questions. Thumbs down, where are my kidneys? And shaky middle, the pipes coming out of your fake kidneys all the time. I forgot to mention how upsetting that was watching that. So he plugs a robot in as a kidney, and the pipes keep coming out the back of him. And I'm not good with blood anyway, but that was just upsetting me.
Little pop noise it makes every time.
I know, it's weird because it's a cartoon. Usually that wouldn't bother me, but this was just. Ooh. Ooh. So thumbs up, good. Thumbs down, bad. Shaky middle. I don't know. Well, I do know. I'm just in the middle. Venture Bros, episode 1. Your thoughts?
Yeah, as I said before, I think it was a good introduction to the characters. It was funny. There's lots of good gags in there. There was action. There was comedy. There was intrigue. There was a robot, which I'm always a fan of. And I think by the end of it, I was eager to be like, I could probably watch a bit more of that. Like, I feel like I got a good introduction, and I was just kind of set on the path of this is what the show is. So I was ready to settle in pretty much, I think. So I definitely did. I did conclude with me wanting to watch more. So I think that means that it's a thumbs up from me.
A thumbs up. Okay, well, yeah, I like I say, it was bizarrely interesting going back after a relatively short amount of time. But I did appreciate way more of it, and just the sort of scenes were like hilarious, and the development was just, it didn't go the way like you imagined it would.
No.
In a weird way. I never thought that I would see someone having both their kidneys removed as part of the plot.
Yeah.
It was just almost jarring, but in a fun way. But yeah, I really liked the way that they sort of played stuff out, and the character development was awesome. So hats off to them for that, because that was just a really cool way of introducing, and it just brought something to light that when you just like, I never realised how much I can't be bothered with those intros.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's something of like the modern generation, we get sort of tired of origin stories and stuff. But yeah, it was just a really nice, easy way to get into it. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, thumbs up.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's good then. Good.
Yeah, Venture Bros, two thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. I think you can't. For me, I couldn't deny that it had potential from that very first episode. Like,
Yeah.
You couldn't. If that was the first one you'd seen and you were on some board to green light shows, I don't think you could be like, nah, it's not good enough.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And I think it definitely doesn't feel like it's the best it could be.
Yeah.
But you know it's going to get better. So it's not bad. It's not even middle enough to be like, yeah, I like it. I'll watch one at some point. Maybe. Yeah. You're just like, oh yeah, that was all right. I'll give it another watch.
You could feel that it could really become something. Like it's got all the ingredients for something that could be really good.
So yeah, that was a nice little outcome. 2 thumbs up. One of the betters. Overall, it's been a fairly good stint. Yeah. So far, can't really fault them.
That's it. When you compare this to our sort of look at video game adaptations into cartoons.
Yeah, so that's over on Patreon at the moment. We're doing a video game journey, which is soon to come to an end. Catch on that. If you want to join, please do, and you get the backlog, don't you, of all the episodes? So you'll get video game episodes. Spoiler alert, haven't been so so enjoyable.
Yeah, not going quite as well as Adult Swim has been.
Yeah, so it is an interesting juxtaposition, really. But yeah, let's hope it keeps it up into the modern age as we'll be moving forward.
Yeah.
Because we've just watched what I'd call the bridge. So let's see what's on the other side.
Yeah.
Otherwise, thank you very much for joining us today, or whichever day you're listening, I suppose. This is a weird thing to say. But
we don't know. We just
we don't know, but thank you for joining us anyway. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to rate and review us. It really, really helps us out, and it helps people find us. Like I say, if you want to get more content for a very, very small, reasonable price, you can do so on our Patreon. The links are on our social medias, and you can find us on the 3 missing kidneys of the internet.
I thought that was kind.
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at ToonJamPod. But otherwise, like I said, thank you very much for joining us. And until next time, you stay jammy.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening. If you want to help the show keep going, you can be extra jammy by heading over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/ToonJamPod. Here you can get a shout out on the show or unlock bonus episodes. Ratings and reviews anywhere you listen to the podcast also really help us out. So thank you, and stay jammy.